Thanks for listening to our podcast. There are more ways to enjoy our content now. Listen to us on YouTube and SoundCloud, and stay up to date by following us on Twitter and Facebook at REL Recording. Links will be down in the description.
Straight out the front door.
Because that's her kink. She likes the sound.
That's horrible.
It is, but it's a world of strange people.
If you can think of it, it exists.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
Oh, we watched Totally Spies, and Totally Spies was nothing but a show about kinks.
Weren't you into Totally Spies?
That show was amazing.
That show was absolutely phenomenal.
That show was for little boys, because no girls watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Kim Possible.
No, Kim Possible was actually good though.
And Totally Spies wasn't?
But Kim Possible is also a show for boys. Boys watch that.
In Totally Spies, they got sucked into like a hairdryer or some shit.
I guess
Kim Possible didn't do that.
I guess if we're going to talk about cartoons, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of REL Recording. We've been gone for a minute again. Life happened, right? We had to be adults and do adult things.
Yeah.
It was not fun. But we're back doing what we like to do, talk about all the nerdy things. And today I want to talk about our childhood is dead, man. It really is.
We're going to talk about the theater and Cartoon Network.
There's a
How
lot.
empty it is.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I mean, kids today, I don't even know where to start.
Wait, Cartoon Network's still a thing? I thought it was just like Gumball Channel.
Yeah,
It's pretty... Yeah.
It's Gumball and Rick and Morty channel.
Rick and Morty comes on Cartoon Network?
That's Adult
Yeah.
Swim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And that makes me sad because kids can't be kids anymore. You know, the cartoons have changed. If you get to see them the way that you get to see them at all the stuff that, say, like me and Janine were watching when we were kids, they're on Boom Network now.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Where
We
they
own
show,
Boomerang.
Where
Wait,
they
it's
show.
Boom now? It's not Boomerang anymore?
Yeah, it's like Boom.
Wait, they changed it to Boom, not Boomerang?
I think it's Boom now, not Boomerang.
I remember watching Boomerang and like
It'd be
the
like-
very like the old
Stuff like
Hanna-Barbera
the old
stuff.
Hanna-Barbera stuff like Flintstones, Jetsons.
Oh,
no, not just that, but like the old Justice League show.
dude.
And it shouldn't even be on there. It's not
you
that
feel
old.
you feel old when like you're watching it and like something like Chowder or Flapjack comes on it and you're like I watched this a few years ago. What's going on?
But yeah, so we'll start off with cartoons.
Wait, hold on, we need to introduce ourselves
Oh yeah.
because we didn't do that.
Because we don't even know who we are. I'm DevTheDoc.
I'm broke, make no money.
It's sad because it's true.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Wyatt.
And this is REL Recording. I forgot the name of the show.
You're recording, right?
Are we recording?
No, that's the name of the show. You're recording, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we changed the name of the show. But let's go ahead and get started with cartoons. I want to start off with saying, back in the day, you get off from school, 3 o'clock, get home by 3:15, 3:30. You got afternoon cartoons, right? On the local channels. We're talking 33, 21,
It was
7.
it was a religion for me to come home, watch Toonami, pretend I didn't have homework, and then watch whatever else was on.
So yeah, that block from about 3 to 5 is your afternoon cartoons. You know, after school stuff you get to enjoy. It does not exist anymore. Like if you were to go watch your local channels.
Well, it's because everything exists on YouTube now. YouTube has become its the Goliath that it is, where you would come home instead of going to the living room, turning on the TV and watching whatever cartoon you would watch, you would come home, turn on your computer, and watch whatever show or anime or video game Let's Player that you watch now, opposed to the old days. And now we're old. Wyatt, you and I are old.
Yeah.
At the ripe old age of 25. Where, like Wyatt said, it was like a religion for him to come home and pretend not to have any homework. For me, it was, yeah, I don't know what happened to my homework. It's gone. And then watching cartoons all afternoon until mom and dad got home. So,
But I've noticed that like there's a lot less cartoons, but the cartoons that are on today, they look like crap, right? But they are far superior to the cartoons we had, and it's because they're not for kids anymore.
They're for adults.
They're for adults.
So,
Like,
so they're not placating to the fact that children are watching. these shows.
yeah, like saw a Gumball clip, and it was this clip about being in the 1960s was different because like, you know, it was the worst place if you were a woman or a minority. But she's like, it's a good thing that's changed now. And she looks at her family and they're like, right? And like that's a joke that would go like far over a kid's head. But, like,
Unless that kid woke.
unless that kid woke.
not all cartoons are like that. Not all current cartoons are like that.
But
Are you going to tell me that Teen Titan Go is better than
Titans Go
It's-
Teen Titans?
right? Like, cause when we go on conventions, like that's all that's on, right? And we're watching some of this stuff. We're like, what the hell? All Powerpuff Girls had was sex jokes. Like,
And that's the problem.
what is this super mature like woke thing?
I think they're
going on?
expecting that the kids that used to watch that show are still watching that show.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
which is, I guess, is okay, but not so much because it's like we're still playing off of nostalgia. Not only did we have the afternoons during the week, but we had a whole Saturday morning block from about 6 to 11. That was your time in front of the TV, because you know, for me, it started out at 6 o'clock with I'm not gonna lie, Sailor Moon.
Of course it did.
And it was the first thing on. And then, we'll work into Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. And, there's the live action shows like Power Rangers and VR Troopers. Damn, I said VR Troopers. I'm old.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm not going to lie and say, I remember watching the change happen in my teens when I'm in high school, where the cartoons started to get fewer and fewer, and you're going from 6 to 11 to 7 to 10, 8 to 9. Wait, when did we get to an hour? Wait, now there's no more Saturday morning cartoons on local TV anymore. And I feel like, and it may be due to a few reasons. One, cable did what it's going to do. It's like, you kids want to watch cartoons? We have a whole channel for that now.
Pay us for it.
Pay us for it, and your kids can watch cartoons all day They don't have to sit and watch it from 6 to 11. And I felt like they wanted children to grow up
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah,
I can see
was,
that.
It was weird. Like, so for me, it was like, was it Fox? I don't know, Channel 11 in California. It was like they started to, when football was coming on, the Saturday morning cartoons were cut short, right? But then it would pick up, the next week or whatever, right? But then, football comes on again and they're cut short. And then all of a sudden, like, I turn on the TV one day, there's no cartoons. And so I'm sitting there waiting, watching, whatever crap is on. Like,
MASH.
yeah, waiting for,
MASH is not crap. How dare you? How dare you?
I work in a hospital.
Okay, Grandpa.
There was a point where I had to sit and watch MASH for a while. So I understand.
Are you gonna say that MASH is crap, Janine?
No, actually, I
That's what I thought.
I enjoy the humor in MASH now as an adult. But as a kid, you don't want to see that crap.
Yeah, I understand, but it's not a bad show at all.
It's not.
It made Dad cry.
I guess, it just plays to, the older the audience gets, things change. It's not only we're getting away with it because cable takes over, but kids are different now. Like you said earlier, they're more inclined to jump towards the internet than they are to sit in front of a TV for a while.
Because you can get away with a lot more on the internet than you can on television.
Yeah.
Like, you can say whatever you want on the internet. I mean, people might get mad at you, but you can say whatever you
Send
want.
you death threats.
But like that's the thing also, is like kids these days aren't watching cartoons anymore. They're watching YouTube stars. Like, I don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't want to see anybody live action, right? Like even there was it Reanimated? Cartoon Network's experiment with
Live action?
yeah, it was live action and cartoon.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was this kid, and he ended up getting a brain injury, so he could start seeing cartoons in his life. Like even that, I was like, all right, I could watch this because there's cartoons in it. If there weren't cartoons, what is this? Cartoon Network? Get this off of my channel! I don't want to watch this. Like the one exception was Disney Channel. Like Disney Channel and
because all
like
the-
Sabrina.
But all their live action stuff was good. You know, you had
Yeah.
Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens. Well, I enjoyed Even Stevens.
Which one
I
was
enjoyed
the
it.
one with the twins in the hotel?
Sweet Life. I didn't
There
care
it
for
is.
that one.
I was a bit older. I was in my teens at that point, but I was kind of watching the show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big child.
Coming from a group of adults that would still watch cartoons.
We'll get into that later. But times have changed. Children have changed. You know, at the point where you want to.
War has changed. Sorry.
When it was about, in those early development years, you're teaching your child to be human. Now, parents who are our age,
Sit them in front of the
millennials
tablet?
sit in front of a tablet or a cell phone, and they know how to use it.
Mhm.
I've seen 2-3-year-old kids swipe through stuff like, oh, no, that's boring, swipe. No, that's boring, swipe.
Skipping through the ads and
Yeah.
pushing
Someone
the
calls and is like, "No, it's
notifications
someone calls on the phone and is like, that's interrupting my show. Hang up."
I was busy still trying to figure out what the select button does on most video games.
Yeah.
The what?
The select button on the
No,
Game Boy
select button.
Color?
Okay.
Not Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color.
It's like, you look at your controller, that's start, select. What the hell selected?
This doesn't do anything. My Pokemon aren't doing anything. I guess it's a useless button. Okay.
It's stuff like that that makes me feel like,
What did the select button do?
You could program it in Pokemon. You could program it to bring out your bike.
Ah,
I remember
Yeah.
doing that. Is it like just like a quick draw? Oh, my bike now I can move faster.
Mm. Before they had the running shoes.
That's a thing now.
Yeah.
I haven't played Pokemon since Crystal.
Jesus.
A long time ago. But it's stuff like that that makes me feel like the childhood is gone, and this one's gonna hit home for you. Why we recently lost Toys R Us.
Mm.
Toy stores are gone, man.
See, Philip and I grew up in a household that was too poor for Toys R Us. We didn't go there. We that wasn't part of our childhood. Like,
If we win, it wasn't for us.
Yeah,
it was
it's-
because someone's birthday had came up and we needed something last
I know,
minute,
I
and I was like, "What did we get them? They're kids. Let's just go to Toys R Us. Here, just buy this or
I
whatever."
totally agree with that, but there was something magical growing up because my family
it
was
gives
broke,
me
too.
anxiety.
Yeah.
It's too chaotic in that store.
I took her to Toys R Us once, and she had the worst time
It
of her
was
life.
it was awful. Oh, there's just too much. It was sensory overload. I hated it. It was awful.
Like I was
Therefore,
in absolute heaven, and she was in absolute hell, and we're in the same place.
Well, I only said it
Wait, did you say that you were in heaven and she was in hell? I like the idea of someone going, "Oh my God, it's heavenly," and someone going, "No, it hurts so much."
I just feel like toys are an essential part of being a child. And when we have a whole generation now that's raised on the internet, the day you're born, there's a pic taken of you, and you're on the internet all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the internet before you even realize you're on the internet. And I feel like you have to push that away because toys are important to children. It's their form of entertainment outside of a TV, outside of whatever else you stick in front of them. It helps them. I know for me growing up, it helped me develop my brain for storytelling because I had a backpack full of action figures. It was usually like Batman and Ninja Turtle stuff. And me and my brother would sit in front of this rinky-dinky old step chair in my grandmother's house and sit in the kitchen and just play and make up stories. And that stuff is important for the development of a child, and you can't do that anymore when everything's just kind of handed to them on the internet. And with the closing of Toys R Us, it's like you just letting childhood die.
But like the whole make believe thing with toys, like that's what VR chat is. VR chat.
So,
my God.
So we
You
haven't
people.
grown up very much. The toys have just changed. But you look at VR chat, right? Because VR chat is this massive game of pretend, right?
Yes, it's just adults playing pretend.
Yeah, but we're all like in our 20s to 30 range, right?
Yeah.
And you realize it's all these kids who used to play on the playground together had to stop playing on the playground to become adults, got money, and then made a new playground.
Made a new playground where they could be in the safety of their own home without being laughed at by other adults.
Yeah, adults.
Using quotations with the
idea
Microsoft.
is, especially for us nerdy and geeky types, is we still want to play at the end of the day. Well, yeah, we're not going to go walk around Walmart or walk around the toy section of any other place like Target or whatever, picking up toys. If you do, then there's nothing wrong with that. But
I mean, I pick up toys and I go to Walmart.
Whenever
Every single time we go to Walmart, we have to detour to the toy section for at least, 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
for Wyatt to pick up the toys and play with them. Every time.
like I say, everybody's
But
different.
like for me, toys were a massive a part of my life, right? So I'm an only child, right? And I grew up middle class, so my parents had a bit of money, but so like I had probably like thousands of toys, right? They didn't give me anything except toys, right? I barely had clothes.
Who needs friends when you got toys?
Yeah.
you don't have any clothes, just put some toys on it. Make a shirt out of toys.
Yeah.
Have G.I. Joe like on your right nipple. Let's do it like this. I will protect you.
Yeah, so like toys were a huge part of my life, and like I had so many, and like I played with so much, just mixing and matching. I had Lego sets. I would build structures and stuff like that, and so like it got to the point where like when my toys would break or I didn't have a particular toy or something, like I would be thinking about like, oh, all right, why did my toy break like this? How could it have been made differently? So it wouldn't break. But like,
So you're saying at the whatever age you were playing with toys you were just looking at them and like, I bet I can do that, but
Yeah.
better.
yeah,
And look at you now.
yeah.
And you're making toys now out of resin.
I remember being in like the 5th grade and being like, all right, I want to be a toy designer. Like toys are such a part of my life. I want to design toys. And then I drifted away from that for a while, and somehow I ended up making toys again. So
But here's my question to you, because this toy thing is very important for you. With the way entertainment for children is changing and the dying of toy stores, how do you think that affects you as a creator of toys?
So, like, I've kind of realized that, like, even looking at a lot of the toys today, you go into the stores, they're a lot different from the toys we had as a kid.
They feel cheaper.
They're number one, they're cheaper, right? So they break a lot more easy. They're almost bootleg. Like regular toys today, because sometimes we'd go to like the swap meet and stuff like that, and get toys from there, and it was all bootleg stuff. They'd be like superhero Rangers,
You
They're
have,
clearly the Power Rangers. But
You'll have like a box that says Justice League, Batman, Shrek, and Power Rangers.
You joke, but I've seen something.
I've also seen that.
we weren't that cheap, but we did get some of the cheap off-brand. Like you knew exactly
Who it was
what
supposed to be.
Yeah, and so now toys are built with some of the same plastics as they were making, So a lot of them are flimsy. They're not as good. Even the articulation.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up with lots of articulation in our toys.
And it's from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder.
Yeah, yeah. those are most action figures are still built like that, but like the smaller figures and stuff, it was always a swivel at the
It was always
At
just
the shoulder.
one piece, and it would be the
And
the
then-
shoulder that would swivel.
You know.
and then there's elbow and whatnot, and then you always had a split where they could do the splits at the
At the leg.
leg, and then they also had a bend at the knee, and if you got really fancy, they had an ankle.
An ankle swivel?
Yeah.
Well, if they had the ankle swivel, they probably also had the wrist swivel.
Yeah. But a lot of toys just aren't being made with that now. They have, little gimmicks and stuff like that, which really limits the playability with them.
Because you can only do that one thing.
Yeah. And so I've noticed a lot of that. A lot of stuff as well are being targeted towards people our age. Like the Star Wars figures and stuff like that. They're super detailed, They're super detailed. They're pretty accurate. Even their scale towards each other are pretty accurate, and they're being marketed towards collectors. So I'm kind of making toys for older audiences, because those are the people who are still buying and collecting.
Yeah, kids don't really need toys. They have tablets and
Yeah.
computers.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, especially when the news that Toys R Us was closing, and I was like, "Oh dear God!" And the first person I was worried about was Wyatt over here, because I know toys were his life.
Mm-hmm.
So you take away your livelihood. What do you do from there? I mean, luckily you have a background in being able to model and stuff like that. So
I'll make my own. I'll make my own toys.
that's not the point. No, if anything, you would have to go into as a possible substitute, like entertainment, and you go modeling for studios.
Mm-hmm.
And because, like I said, when the news broke, I was seriously worried about this guy. I didn't know if he was going to make it mentally. It's like, oh no, I'll never see my stuff.
He's like Milhouse in The Simpsons. Whenever Mo changed the R on the sign to a regular R, he just started crying.
But yeah, it's something I was kind of aware about, like, all the time. Of course, everyone wants to make a Barbie or a Lego, and be around for centuries. But, like, I always went in with the mindset that I might not be able to compete with them, and, I may never get my stuff in a store. I have to go towards people my age and older. That's who I have to market towards. So I went into the designer toy area of it.
And so instead of competing with, say, Toys R Us or Walmart, now he's competing with people like Sideshow Collectibles and Hot Toys. Good luck, sir.
I'll get there one day.
Because, don't get me wrong, Sideshow Collectibles, I love their stuff.
But no, like, that's the future of toys is, you grow up and you collect, you don't even play with them.
And a lot of times they're left in the box, or they're set up in some really elaborate display. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen Mike's statues. I know Janine has.
I have.
Yeah.
And Mike has this, like, standing thing where he's got smaller statues.
It's his mother's china case. It's what it is. It's a china display case.
But there are beautiful statues in there. There's hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of statues in there. But I guess that's the way, like you're saying, that toys are going. It's no longer for kids. It's for those adults who were kids, our generation, who don't necessarily want to grow up too much just yet. It's like, I still want that Batman in my life, but my wife won't let me have action figures, so I have this awesome statue over here that cost me $300.
Yeah. Or even one thing I noticed is the price. The price of toys is, like, of the quality we had as a kid has skyrocketed. So there's this Blackout figure from Transformers, the Michael Bay Transformers, the helicopter. I really want that toy. It's a toy, right? It transforms and it has joints and everything. I really want it, and it's like $50, right? and it's I guess there's a little bit more detail than like the Armada or the Energon series, but it's about the quality, you know.
$50, that thing needs to transform on its own.
Yeah.
I better be able to say blackout, and it takes 30 seconds for it to do it, but
It better be able to be sentient. Blackout, give me a beer, and it just transforms, and then flies, picks up a beer, and comes back and hands it to you.
Because back when I was a kid, like the $50 Transformers, they would have been like your Optimus Primes with the trailer on it that transforms so he can transform into the big one.
What, 12, 18 inches tall?
Yeah, it was at least a foot tall by the time you transform everything, But
When y'all were younger, and y'all got Transformer toys, were you able to transform them completely?
Yep.
yeah,
I was never able to do that.
Because I grew up during the era of Beast Wars, and that was a big deal. So I had Optimus Primal, and my brother had oh my god, he's like the substitute for Bumblebee.
Cheetor.
Cheetor, yes.
I always wanted a Cheetor figure and never got one. Still salty about that.
And yeah, we transformed those daggone things from beast to robot and back.
But okay, because I guess all the Transformers I had were cars or vehicles.
Did you have the instructions?
No.
Yeah, that
That would help.
yeah.
So
No, that makes a huge difference because it would take me like 30 minutes to transform one Transformer for the first time, and then I would have to transform it like 10 other times, and then I had them memorized. I had all of my Transformers.
So a lot of our toys were hand-me-downs. So like we grew up in a large family. There was lots of cousins, and things got shared between cousins
Looks like
and
you're
brothers and
the
sisters.
first.
I was the first, but I was also a girl, so all of my toys were Barbies. But my favorite toys were my brother's and my cousin's toys because they had like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and stuff.
Yeah, the cool stuff.
Yeah, the cool stuff. Like the Barbies were okay, but like I was they're just fucking Barbies. They don't do anything.
They do this.
Like Barbies are fun.
They didn't even have
You
the
have those
joint.
$100 accessories.
They didn't even have the joint at the elbow. They just had the one plastic
No,
arm.
like they bend. They had like a little clicky bend thing.
No,
at
no,
the-
no. They had one plastic arm, and their arms were already bent.
Yes.
Oh yeah, a lot of them were like that.
It's just, yeah.
But
Imagine like when someone says they're doing the robot, and they're just. Imagine that, just like on a Barbie doll,
Yeah.
and that would be the arm.
so yeah, a lot of our toys we didn't get with the instructions because
They probably
we were-
no longer existed.
Yeah, we were sharing between
No.
family members.
Transformers, you needed instructions. Oh, I had this friend. So he didn't have as many toys, but he had a lot nicer toys, right? But he had like this sister, or I guess it was like a god sister or something. Anyway, someone was living out with him at one point. She grew up, went away, and so she left behind like her Barbies and stuff like that. But they had got her like 2 of the cars, right? 2 of the cars, and there were several Barbies that he had. But we were really into Max Steel and Action Man at the time, which they were around the same size. So like, we whenever I'd go over, I'd bring like my whole Max Steel collection. He had the villain, I forget his name, and we'd play around like in the cars. Like,
Little Barbie cars.
yeah, little Barbie cars, saving the Barbies. Sometimes the Barbies would have to save them. We got it over it. Oh man.
And I feel like because kids don't have those cartoons, kids don't have those toys, I don't know if we'll have a next generation of fun storytellers. I mean, we still have books and comics, but
Yeah,
There's
that's
something-
the only saving grace for the storytelling.
but there's something that has to be said about creating those stories at that young an age where your imagination's just running wild. And if that leads into your adulthood, those are the people who make great storytellers in my mind.
I mean, like I watch Bob, my nephew. His name isn't Bob, but we call him Bob.
Yeah.
because no one is going to name a child Bob. Anyways, I watch him playing with his toys, and he has a very vivid imagination. Even though he doesn't have like the same cartoons that we had, he has like whatever's on Netflix. I don't know. There's like some show with like dinosaurs that turn into trucks or something.
It looks like trash, but I guess it's good for the youngins.
And like whatever those kids shows are now. So I don't think it's that they don't have it. They just have it in a different way than we had it.
But so when I've looked through, because there's lots of stuff for little kids, right? Because that's the big market, is having TV raise your child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Raise me.
And look how you turned out.
and then you have like, you know, the old stuff that we had.
But there's that in between.
Yeah, there's that in between where we had a clear section for it. You know, we had our Lazy Towns, we had our what else? Would Blue's Clues be in there?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blue's Clues.
That's that early development stage,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Which is
That's
it's
what Bobby's
past the trash that they're playing on Netflix, and that stupid bear or whatever with the family and the hand or whatever.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you talking
The
about?
brainwashing bullshit.
Yeah, the brainwashing bullshit on YouTube.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? Brainwashing?
Brainwashing bullshit.
Okay, no, I'll put it this way. There's for our group, there's a clear example. So you start in those early years, you're on PBS a great deal of the time. It's a lot of Thomas the Train and the early development stuff, Arthur, crap like that. And then there's that age after 5 when you've already started school, anywhere from about 6 to 12 before you get to your teenage years, where you're taking in all kinds of interesting things. And that's the time where we had Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles was getting really big again, and all the other cartoons at the time our generation found anime at that time because DBZ was freaking huge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think kids have anything for that area because it's like the early stuff, which is Dora, whatever Bobby's watching right now. But after 6, heading into your teen years, there's nothing there anymore.
I think it's there. It's just it's not for us, so we're not aware of it. I'm sure there's something that kids are watching. It's either on Netflix or on YouTube or something. It's just it's not intended for us, so we don't know what it is.
That could be it, you know, because like I said, the cartoons on Cartoon Network and stuff, they're, even though they're for kids, still they're not for kids, you know?
Yeah, because like Bob sat down and he watched Gumball with me. He had no idea what was going on, and he kept asking, "What's that? Who's that? What's his name?" But because he's at that age where like he wants to know everything, but he had no idea what was going on, and obviously like I was getting more enjoyment out of it because I understood the jokes. But he sat and watched it because it's all colorful and you know.
Yeah.
Because we had Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, we had all that, and now that stuff's on Boomerang because it's old.
But like that was, all that stuff was like a good transition, you know, because it's super simple, but it's complicated enough that, you know, at the age of 5 or 6, like it's not trivial, you know.
You're not playing to the fact that kids are watching the show anymore. It's like I always go back to Batman the Animated Series because that was a show for kids that wasn't for kids. The themes in that show, you're talking about folks who were dealing with mental disorders and a man who walks around dressed as a bat.
Mm-hmm.
That man has issues. There are characters in the show who were truly sad characters. Clayface was a sad character. Mr. Freeze.
That doll chick, that one was a little distant. Like the chick that couldn't grow up, so she was
that episode.
I don't remember that episode.
But yeah, these are stories that are being told to children that are deep, dark stories. And you know, I'm over 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm enjoying the crap out of it, but I get it. I'm old enough to understand that not everything's happy all the time. It was a show that didn't play to the fact that you're a kid anymore, even though it was still a cartoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like that one, that similar to That one time you accidentally watched Ninja Scroll or something like that?
Ooh, that was a mistake.
You have recording?
Yes.
We're leaving.
Okay.
Where are you going?
Oh, Tracy and Gary's.
Y'all don't love us anymore. You're always with Tracy and Gary.
We're having a castration party.
What?
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke.
What are they doing? Who are they castrating?
Pigs.
Oh.
Leave that in.
I'm not the one editing it. Why it is?
But I don't know. But maybe you're right. It is that the entertainment has changed, and there is stuff for each age group. We just don't see it anymore because our childhoods died.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm really surprised about, especially for our generation, because we have like so many creative people, right? Like when you look at a huge portion of our generation, we're artists. You know, it's easier than ever to be an artist now because you know you can put your own stuff out, you can advertise your own stuff, and it's reflecting. You know, so you can tell we had a big imagination. You know, but that's led into things like animators and visual effects artists and stuff like that that aren't making productions online, like shows and animations online. You would expect to run into a whole bunch of
Because we have that avenue available for us, even though they're not using it.
yeah, and instead you go into like VR chat and you see people making over the top animations, by themselves, on their own, fully voice acted. They're hiring, voice actors, or even when you're looking at smut, there are people that are custom animating smut, hiring voice actors and voice actresses and stuff like that. But we don't see like how Adventure Time started off as a web series.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see a whole lot of that, and that's really weird to me.
Yeah.
It is.
Like we've even seen a jump in animated music videos,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't see even indie games. We have so many indie games, no indie animations.
I think that's a matter of you've got this boom of creatives who are coming into adulthood, and they want to work for a big company.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. At the end of the day, you want to work for a big company.
Yeah.
As a writer or a comic book artist, you want to work for Marvel or DC instead of creating your own webcomic.
Right.
Or as an animator, you want to work for Disney or Pixar
Mm-hmm.
because they're not going to know it's you at the end of the day because they have a house style.
Yeah.
But at least you can say I worked on that instead of doing your own animations and posting it online. There are people who do, and I enjoy those people who do. But the idea at the end of the day is you want to work for somebody big just to say you did. It's a recognition thing. We want to be seen. We want to be heard.
I don't think it's all just recognition. I think part of it is like the security of it. Like, if you're working for Disney, you're going to get paid. But if you're putting your own stuff out there,
It
like,
could just be a passion project.
you might not get paid.
When you were saying that people want to work for these big companies, the book, the Madman's book that I had made, the lady that's sitting next to you that drew a really amazing Cthulhu. Apparently, Devin looked her up, and she worked on Pixar.
No. Actually, I learned that the lady who was sitting next to you guys, she was sitting in for the actual artist that did.
Yeah.
That actual artist was at Anime Central Texas.
Okay, so the one that you're thinking about is someone completely different.
No, but the thing is, I enjoy her work. She's great smart, right? I enjoy her work more than I did the work that was on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if she's done anything big, but I know she studied abroad, and I looked into her because I thought her work was really good.
He looked into her.
Ew.
I looked into her soul. No,
It wouldn't surprise me.
but there's this want, there's this need, and yeah, it could be just a matter of security because you work for Disney. You work for Disney, and you know you're gonna get paid at the end of the day. So I admire those because there's a few animators that I follow on YouTube who just post their own simple animations, but they have this huge following. And it's like, I admire what you do because you decided not to go the route of I need to work for Disney. I need to work for Pixar.
But that's what blows my mind is, they're out there, they're making these simple animations, you get a team of 3 or 4 people together, launch a Kickstarter, and you can have a full entire show made for, this generation who's growing up watching Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate for them.
Because the following is there. It's just a matter of, and this is going to be a completely different conversation altogether. It's a matter of those who like those creators willing to support the creators financially. Because we can say at the end of the day, yeah, I love watching that guy. But if he started a Patreon, would you be willing to put in on that Patreon? We're not going to do that conversation today. That's another episode. Because that's a matter of support.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, I support you. Thumbs up, sir.
And I guess now, like, since the apocalypse, then
That's the route that
things
everybody's
are-
going.
yeah,
But again,
another-
another episode.
Another episode for another day.
But yeah, like it's kind of sad, like how this generation doesn't have that, like how we reminisce on Static Shock and Batman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, all that.
I don't
Like,
think they'll have that.
yeah.
They'll get into their teens, into being adults. It's like, you remember Gumball?
Yeah.
Well, again, going back to the theater of
Mm,
the Cartoon Network theater,
Mm.
they had the entire thing filled. They had Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Ed, and Eddie, Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, Ed, you guys are so into
Oh
that.
man,
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yes.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. They had like Samurai Jack,
Mm,
Johnny Bravo. Their entire like every single seat was filled in that theater. And then like jump forward to like a couple of years ago, like literally a couple of years ago, they had no one in that theater. Like apparently no one wanted to watch whatever crap was on that screen because
I don't know why Johnny Test was on so much and nobody liked that show.
But it got a couple seasons, so I mean, hey,
Why?
somebody.
I didn't watch it.
Nobody. I haven't found anyone who was like, oh yeah, I enjoyed that show.
To be honest,
yeah, it's like I tolerated that show to see what was going on after.
Johnny Test was one of those ones I was in between 2 shows that I was watching, and I didn't want to change the channel. So it got my viewership that day in the Nielsen rating. So hey,
Oh man.
And that's the problem. They gamed you, Devin. They gamed everyone. They put it in between 2 popular shows that no.
that's what you call smart programming. You want to keep people on your channel watching your shows.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they put something very interesting at the front and then something very interesting at the back, and then nothing interesting going on around that. So it's like I guess I'll tolerate
That's around
this.
the time, especially on a Saturday morning, you can get your cereal, and you're eating, not really paying attention. That whole 30 minutes that goes by real fast.
Yeah, and the people running the show are going, "Oh wow, this show is actually getting a lot of traction.
Let's make another season.
Let's make another season."
Doesn't matter that none of your merch is selling.
And we've lost shows because merch didn't sell,
Yeah.
which sucks. But that's another story.
Alright.
But yeah, I don't want my childhood to die, and it doesn't necessarily have to die because it lives on through me. It lives on through this generation of creators who are forever nostalgic for the things of our past. So much so that we can sit and have a whole conversation on it. I wish we could go back and watch like that late '80s, early '90s Ninja Turtles, but then you realize how corny it really was. It was bad. But it's.
I want to go
I
back.
still can't watch G1 of Transformers. I got to episode 1 and couldn't do it.
You couldn't even give it a 3-episode rule.
I've told this story before. Guys hanging around, listening to a boombox. Optimus Prime rolls up, transform. Boombox transforms, same size as Optimus Prime.
Where does it
He's
all
an
fit?
18-wheeler, and they're the same size. I couldn't do it.
So that makes me think about Bumblebee and this Bumblebee movie and the Transformers universe. I like Bumblebee's design in his own movie than I do in anything he's done in the Transformers stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's a simpler design,
Mm.
and it just looks better to me, and it looks like everything fits in the right place.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Why that argument is like when we were playing Gears of War 2 at the very end, when that giant thing stepped into like the Lambent pit, and it started growing and growing. And we were in the helicopter, and you go, "You can't create mass. What the hell is this?"
But I think that's that brain going up into grown-up logic, because as a child you don't think anything of it, but as a grown man you're like, that's not
That's not how that works.
that's not how that works out. And we never even got on the subject of video games and how they've changed over the last 30 years.
Next podcast.
We'll say it for its own episode.
Shit.
Then. Okay.
All right.
We'll wrap this one up, but
Because we don't want it to get pregnant.
yes, we don't want the episode to get pregnant and give
It's
off
too late.
episode babies. But your childhood, as much as we say that childhood doesn't have to die, it can live on as long as you remain nostalgic and you remain passionate about those things. I mean, it doesn't have to take up your life unless you want it to, but let it live on through you.
Oh man, that was deep, man. Like, my childhood does live through me because I'm not a child and can't live through my childhood again. Whoa.
What?
Leave it to Wyatt to take a deep
Wyatt, are you like high right now?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Do you need some water?
Leave it to
Do you smell Do you smell toast?
Leave it to Wyatt to take a moment that I wasn't even intending for it to be deep. And he just went beyond whatever the heck I was doing. But it works.
Wyatt, oh man, like that was real deep.
Is that your Tommy Chong?
Hmm?
It sounds like Chong.
I don't know.
It doesn't sound like Cheech, it sounds like Chong.
What is it? Hey, do you know where the boss is, man? Leo, you are the boss. Oh, right. What, is the boss coming in today?
Any last words from anybody?
I don't think that it's all bad. I think that we're just not aware because it's not our demographic anymore. We're old farts. And childhood is like they've got Netflix and Crunchyroll. They'll be fine.
I think those kids need to get better cartoons. They need to get off my lawn.
Well, I've told y'all this before, and this is a whole episode itself. I think SpongeBob was the death of American cartooning.
I like SpongeBob.
I
You mean
do.
it was the death of American?
SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm saying this, was the death of American cartooning.
Hold-
And we'll save that for next time.
No, I'm gonna edit this out, and this is gonna be a side clip.
Alright, hold on,
I
Red.
need to explain this.
He can.
Well, I'm just signaling to Devin. It's that.
Alright. So, stay childish, friends. That's the only way that we're going to survive this crazy world. Continue to have fun and enjoy what you enjoy. Until next time, I'm DevTheDoc.
I'm broke, McNomoney.
I'm Janine.
I'm Wyatt, and I need to know how SpongeBob is the American cartoon.
See you guys next time. Bye.